The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao! AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tooker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hey, Miss Poppy.
Peg.
Hello. Making his Steppin Out debut, long overdue, photographer Eric Waters, who has documented New Orleans culture for many years and has a major exhibit on view at the Mint. We'll talk more about that. Welcome, Eric.
Thank
Hello.
you for having me.
Sure. Stephen Montalvo, Executive Director of the Louis Moreau Institute, with big concerts coming up in the next few weeks. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hello. And Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com. Poppy, I'm always in search of Thai food.
Well, Peggy, I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite couples, a set of New Orleanians that everybody should get to know. And those are my friends, Chef Sissek and Frankie Weinberg. Now, originally we spoke about them when they had opened up their first restaurant, Pomelo, up on Magazine Street. But God bless them, they dream big. From those 18 seats on Magazine Street, they got 85 seats now on Gravier in the CBD, just 2 blocks from Canal Street at Good Catch. And I'll tell you what, Good Catch is a big catch. Do not miss it. All this time, Chef has been making do with no hood, with no gas stove, uptown at Pomelo. I don't know how she's turned out the beautiful food she has, but now she's got a full kitchen. She's got a walk-in cooler. So at Good Catch, she can really strut her stuff. And look at what she's cooking. How about that fried whole sea bass with a bird chili pepper sauce, clay pot glass noodles and shrimp, green curry scallops. Oh, goodness, you scallop lovers, don't miss that. I've never had anything like their jumbo lump crab fried rice. You know fried rice doesn't look like that with that crab. They serve tom yum ramen. This is everything you might be looking for in a Thai restaurant is going to be there. Bok choy, papaya salad, and down there they're serving lunch, dinner, and they have a full bar, so there's a happy hour. The food is amazing. Do not miss it. But don't forget Pomelo on Magazine Street, because they are still blowing and going. There's Chef with all of her yumminess, but I just have a picture to show you. If you're wondering, is this authentic and the right place to be? If the Buddhist monks who recently made that mandala at Tulane made sure to dine at Pomelo when they were in town, I'd say that's the place to go. Now, keeping in the seafood vein, we're going straight to Mid-City, where Porgy's Seafood Market has opened up. And of course, they're right there on the corner of North Carrollton and Bienville. Long time a seafood spot. We've never had a seafood spot like this before. This is a fish market and restaurant. Charming, sunny interior. Of course, Marcus Jacobs, who was the chef at Margie's Grill, and Seafood Sally's is the one on premise there now. You can actually go in and out of their fresh fish case, select a fresh mackerel and ask them, could I have a blackened mackerel poor boy? And look at that. They'll fillet the fish and cook it up for you. It doesn't get any fresher than that. And the food's delicious. There's all sorts of stuff. There's crab balls. There's a lot of sushi-like. They've got agua chile, crudo, ceviche. Of course, they got old school things like gumbo, But my goodness, I don't know where you go and get a baked sweet potato like that. They also will have grilled pigtails available. So don't miss Porgy Seafood. Whether you want to cook it yourself or have them do it, it's the place to go.
Thank you so much. Eric, there's so much to talk about. First of all, let's talk about you. You've been documenting, and we figured it out, it was more like over 40 years that you've been documenting New Orleans culture. So we're going to show some of your photos, and I'm sure it's very hard for even to select photos because there's so many. You're so prolific. But the other thing is that you're involved with the Danny Barker Festival as well. But let's go ahead and show some of your photos. And I just love the 4 boys and 2 trumpets. I mean, my heart, right? Right there. But just you're out on the streets and you're documenting not regular times of the year, but also, of course, Mardi Gras. Look at the cigar lady. Just great. And some of the, of course, masking Indian chiefs from around town. Look, isn't it? I mean, it just so, each one is so beautiful unto itself. But just very, very good. And because of all of this, you also now have a special exhibit, and these are separate from that, over at the Mint, because you've been documenting the Danny Barker Banjo and Guitar Festival too. Look at that. I love it. Sugar, Anita, and Kitsy. You just can tell they're having so much fun. But also now, here we go, at the Mint, at the New Orleans Jazz Museum, also known as the Mint, you've got photos that will be up for a while, and so check those out while everybody goes to the Danny Barker Festival. Now, if you've never heard of Danny Barker, shame on you, because this was a wonderful man who was so talented. They also called him a griot. Yeah. Somebody who was a very wise man, who was not only a performer, he played with Louis Armstrong and Duke Ellington, but came back in New Orleans and mentored many children. I can't believe he's been gone since '94, okay? Oh. And he and Blue Lou, his amazing wife, too. So this is all an honor, and it's the 10th year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the 10th anniversary of the Jazz Festival. I mean, the Danny Barker Banjo Guitar Festival. And it started with a conversation with Detroit Brooks in 2000 at Rose Nicole Cafe. And he asked me what do you think about honoring Danny with a festival? I said, let's go for it. Of course, certain things happened, a lot of planning, setbacks, those kind of things. And then the levees broke. That set us back. But Detroit Brooks was very dogmatic, and he carried the torch for a long time. Finally made it happen in 2015, and it's grown tremendously since then.
And of course, he's a banjo player and guitarist as well.
Exactly.
And very involved with so many groups. The weekend, and we're gonna have to suggest everybody go to the website, DannyBarkerFestival.com, because it's full. We just showed some of the performers. Dr. Michael White, my goodness, and Wendell Brunius, and the Pfister sisters. But there are also going to be interviews during the weekend. And you had a few that you wanted to recommend. Do you want to mention?
Yeah, Carl LeBlanc, Fred Caston is the interviewer. The other one would be John McCusker with Eric Cager. And Matt Martinez, he's the one that does the videos of Danny Barker. He has a large collection. And there's David Kunian, and of course a tribute to Lucien Barbaran by Greg Stafford, who was mentored by Danny Barker.
Who went way too soon, Lucien Barbaran. I mean,
yeah.
He's a young man when he passed, But we're really excited about your involvement, and all comes out of a conversation, huh?
Yes. Yes.
And it gets bigger and bigger. And the Mint is a wonderful place now. The New Orleans, also known as New Orleans Jazz Museum, is a wonderful place for it. Was it hard to put together your show? I mean, to select from thousands of pictures that you've done over the years?
It was very difficult. 9 years of images, and we distilled it to 82 images. 50 will be at the exhibit. And we have 30 other ones that'll be put into the exhibit as we go. Some taken out, some putting back in, because the exhibit's going to last about 9+ months. So, they've really done me a great solid. And of course, the Mint is a great venue for the festival, and they've been a partner since its inception, and we're very, very grateful.
Well, it keeps on growing too, and it's not just, and this is your contact information if somebody would love a photo or to talk to you, ebonyimages at gmail.com, and Mr. Eric Waters. But it's just a great tribute that you honor, when you're taking a photo, you honor a certain aspect of New Orleans culture. And I just love that. And it just keeps on growing. And just like the festival, it started small. And I'm amazed how many, how many images and how many activities there are there, and reasonably priced. I mean, it's all there at the Mint. Also, at some other places around town, too.
Yeah, tonight there will be a celebration of Danny Barker at the New Orleans Museum of Art. It's our first time using that as a venue, and we're very grateful for that. And then Snug Harbor, Friday night, and Corey Harris will be the performer, also honoring the birthday of Danny Barker.
Love it, love it. We miss them so much, Danny and Blue Lou. They really kept the spirit, developing the Fairview band, the brass
Fairview
band.
Baptist Church band.
And when you think about who grew up in that band, like a Greg Stafford and Dr. Michael White, I mean,
the list
it just
goes on and on.
Yeah, I was going to say, we could spend the whole time talking about that. So it's great to have you, and look forward to having you back soon,
Appreciate
too.
it. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And Stephen, Louis Moreau is back, and we should say that's in reference to Louis Moreau Gottschalk, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Our name plays not only tribute to Louis Moreau Gottschalk, but also Louis Armstrong, two really successful New Orleans musicians that we like to honor through our festival. And so the festival, this is going to be our 10th year, and we're really excited. And we wanted to do something really special for our 10th year. And so we're going to be presenting two concerts, and the first concert is going to be including a composition that was composed by a Guggenheim fellow named Cherie Clement, a wonderful composer who's done a tremendous job of putting together a new work for our musicians.
Look at the lineup.
There's going to be, just a incredible lineup of composers who are composing music from the past 25 to 50 years, and we're really excited to be presenting all of this new music for New Orleanian audiences.
And then you have one other one, too. And this one, though, is at the New Marigny Theater. Not to be confused with the Marigny Opera House. This is a relatively new venue.
The New Marigny Theater is a beautiful venue that is in the St. Roch neighborhood, and we're really excited to be there.
God bless Julian Mutter, who put all that together, huh?
Yeah, I know the Louisiana Philharmonic has done a lot of orchestra concerts there, and we're really excited to be in that venue.
And then you have another one coming up, too.
That's right, absolutely. Our second concert is going to be comprised of all New Orleanian composers. Composers who either grew up here or that spent significant amount of time here and composed works for contemporary classical music. And, it's when you look into it, there's no shortage of really great contemporary works written by people who have really strong ties to the Crescent City. And we're really excited that we get to present, just a sample of them, just a small portion of them.
Well, speaking of sample, you were kind enough to actually share a little bit of a sample. Now here is actually a preview of a composition by Courtney Bryan, and you saw her name just a moment ago, and a familiar melody featuring many musicians who will be performing at the concerts. Let's take a look. And for tickets and other information, go to louismoreauinstitute.org. Thank you, Stephen.
Of course.
And moving over to Alan. Woo, what a lineup.
We have a plethora, if I may say, of openings
plethora.
that are actually going to be on stages all across town. And the first two I'm mentioning are actually musicals that are regional premieres. The first is a rehearsal photo here that we have of Melissa Campbell, the star of Beautiful. And that's the Carole King musical, of course. The show played at the Sanger a few years ago and, of course, had a long run on Broadway, propelling Jessie Mueller into star status and, of course, a richly deserved Tony Award. The show opens at Le Petit tomorrow night. It's directed by Jeanne Buisson, who also choreographs the show. I can't wait to see this show, which features music by Carole King and Jerry Joffin, Cynthia Weil, and Barry Mann. Opening also tomorrow night is the Kelly Fushi-directed musical The Prom, which was nominated for a Tony Award back in 2019 and made into a film by Ryan Murphy with Meryl Streep and James Corden. Not only does Kelly direct, but she's featured as Mrs. Green, and her own daughter Savannah is starring as her stage daughter, Alyssa Green, on the stage at Rivertown. The show has great music and an underlying message of acceptance and respecting one another. That's The Prom. Then Goat in the Road Productions has a new project that runs at the Contemporary Arts Center, and it's going to be on for the next 2 weekends. It's about Ukraine and a New Orleans woman in particular who's helping victims over there. Top 5 survival moves will raise money for Ukraine relief as well, but it only runs again for 4 shows, including a Sunday matinee next weekend. That's at the CAC on Camp Street. Now, if it's March, it's got to be the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival, and it can't be far away. So we're going to turn our attention now to some of the many theatrical offerings that are being shown at the festival. First of all, the Tennessee Williams Theater Company of New Orleans is bringing back a revival, the very first revival they've had of their very first production, which was The Kingdom of Earth. And it's at Loyola's Marquette Theater. That's really almost exactly across the street from where the earlier production was at a small church. It's first presented 7 seasons ago in the past. It's directed by Augustin J. Carrero, and the cast includes Edward Carter Simon, Rebecca Hollingsworth, and Benjamin Darty. That's Kingdom of Earth, and that's going to be opening tomorrow night and playing all the way to the 24th of March. Then, for those who want more information on these shows that I already mentioned, but they're going to have some more I'm going to mention in just a little bit, go to TennesseeWilliams.net. That's TennesseeWilliams.net to get any information about that or the Saints and Sinners Festival. Meanwhile, the students at Delgado Community College at their theater department are putting on 3 nights of Tennessee one acts, and they're calling it, how you like this one, 5 by 10. I like that. So they're going to have here Lord Byron's Love Letter. It's a photo of basically the show that's set at Mardi Gras time in the 1890s in New Orleans. You'll also see Lady Larchmore Lotion, Talk to Me Like the Rain and Let Me Listen, Hello from Bertha, and a wonderful one act called The Case of the Crushed Petunias, again at Delgado Theater, and it's going to be on the Timothy K. Baker Theater stage. Also, a new female-empowered production company called the Fireweeds is making their presentation for the first time at the Big Couch on Desire Street, right off of St. Claude Avenue. And you'll recognize Lynn Gaithright here in Interior Panic. She'll star opposite her fellow producer, Jacqueline Bethany, in The Pretty Trap as well. Now, you may recognize the names of those as the precursors to The Glass Menagerie and A Streetcar Named Desire. So if you don't recognize it, now you know Interior Panic and The Pretty Trap. They're going to be playing again at Big Couch on Desire Street, and you can get their tickets at outragehearts.bpt.me. The last 2 shows I'm going to highlight, Peggy, are both at the Monteleone Hotel. One on Saturday night, March the 23rd, as Matt de Rogatis and Christian Jules LeBlanc present Act 2 of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and they're calling it Mendacity. And this was a role that they did off-Broadway just a little while ago. So Mendacity, Act 2 of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, is going to play in the Queen Anne Ballroom, and that'll be at the Monteleone Hotel on Saturday night. And then the NOLA Project will present 3 one-acts by Tennessee on the final day of the festival on Sunday, March the 24th, auto da fe in our profession in every 20 minutes. Last but not least, I want to mention something very dear to me. One of my treasured friends growing up was Lee Harris, also known as Lil Queenie. Lee passed away, as you probably know, a few years ago in North Carolina, and her widower, Rick Ledbetter, and her son, Alex McDonald, will join me, along with several of her musician friends, Holly Benson, Johnny Magny, Paul Clement, Jimmy Robinson, Allison Young, and Lenny Zenith, to remember her. That's going to be on my NOLA Theater talk show, Lee Harris Remembered, and again, we'll have a lot of other people to talk about what's going on. It's in advance of a sold-out event that's going to be at the George and Joyce Ween Hall, being held this Wednesday night. You can't get tickets to go anymore live, but it will be a live stream. You'll be able to see a lot of those people who we talked about just a moment ago on stage. Also, Gwen Tompkins, who was, of course, a regular on our show from time to time, will be leading a live panel discussion, and then the live concert will take place. So check that out again. It's going to be broadcast on the NOLA, I guess the New Orleans Jazz Festival, and also on Lil Queenie's site that her husband runs, lilqueenie.com.
All right, thank you so much. And this year's WYES Season of Good Taste is including 10 restaurants. Here's Dana Hansel with a sneak preview at Rosedale Restaurant.
Hi, I'm Dana Hansel with WYES and here to talk about Season of Good Taste, and here with two fabulous chefs that have been long-term supporters. So first we have Chef Jacob, who's come from us from Miami, you said?
South Florida, around that.
Good. And for 15 years ago, you've been cooking, and 3 years in NOLA, so you fell in love and decided to stay and got with Susan.
Absolutely.
Life's been great ever since.
That's been just a dream.
And then, of course, we all know Susan Spicer, who has a long list of accomplishments. 1993 James Beard Award, 95 Mondavi Culinary Excellence Award. She was inducted into the James Beard Foundation Who's Who of Food and Beverage in America in 2010. She's been on TV, Top Chef, and she's written a cookbook that was nominated for Best American Cookbook. You've been busy, Susan.
I know, it's time I do another cookbook, actually. I got a lot more recipes, so.
Good, good. Well, we're here to talk about your menu, but first, what inspires you? What gets you going? What gets your team going? Tell us what influences that.
Oh man, there's so many different influences, be it from family recipes, the people that we work with together, just walking out every day and seeing like a cool sign or a different restaurant and be like, I haven't done that in a while, let me try that, Wow. But a lot of it comes from a lot of like the traditional flavors, like traditional New Orleans flavors, Creole cuisine. I'm a big fan of just all things Southern cuisine. I like a lot of Japanese flavors as well, so I like to mix it up there, but then I have a lot of heritage in Latin cuisine as well, so I like to throw that in there and just really, get my hands in everything, really explore the world through cuisine,
Well, that's exciting. So tell us about this menu that you two have created for us.
Well, we just decided, it's always fun to have a theme. Just kind of, when you have to pick a menu, it gives you a little way to focus and decide. Otherwise, there's too much choice. So we decided to take a little trip around the islands. We were kind of, thinking about Carnival and that sort of thing, but since we're in March and we're post-Carnival this year, we just decided to kind of do a cruise around the Antilles. Something we'd love to be doing instead of being here cooking, but
Exactly.
So we're gonna do it, on the plate. So we're gonna do sample a little of some dishes from a lot of different islands.
Well, every year you have a big crowd, and we appreciate it so much, and everybody loves your crowd.
Have a good time.
We're very privileged to be able to do it.
Oh, well, we thank you, because I'll tell you what, people look forward to coming here at Rosedale. Everybody loves it. You've done a great, beautiful. So anyway, we're excited to see everybody in March here at Rosedale. So please go to wyes.org/events and get your tickets now. They're selling fast.
And we actually have just learned that it's sold out, but there's a wait list. Darn. Okay, but it still might entice you to go anyway. But go to wyes.org/events, get yourself on that wait list, or just go to Rosedale. What a wonderful, wonderful place. Now time for our picks of the week. Poppy.
Well, big message from the North Shore. We've got to tell everybody this Saturday, it's not your mama's gumbo cook-off. It's going to be taking place at the Trailhead Park in Abita Springs, Saturday, 11 to 2. It ought to be fun and delicious.
Alan.
So this is Katrina Galka. If you look, this is the lady who is going to be the star of the upcoming Lucia de Lammermoor, playing Friday and Sunday, March the 22nd and 24th at the Mahalia Jackson Theater for Lucia de Lammermoor. Again, check it out. It's going to be Donizetti at its best, and I'll see you at the theater.
All right. And yes, the New Orleans Opera website right there. The New Orleans Book Festival at Tulane University kicks off next week, and here's co-founder Walter Isaacson with the scoop.
Book Festival this year is partnering with New Orleans Entrepreneurs Week. And we're doing it at around the same time, a lot of overlapping events, so that people can come hear about entrepreneurship, about startup communities in New Orleans, but also books. And I think it'll make something bigger. And someday we hope it'll be an even bigger Third Coast Festival about creativity and books. Well, we're evolving almost from being a book festival to an ideas festival, because anybody who's got some great, interesting ideas, we want to showcase it. That's what we're doing with the Atlantic, and we do it across the board, whether it's General Petraeus or Stacey Abrams, people from all walks of life and all political thought. We want to make sure that ideas are represented. You know, we have Ken Burns coming to talk about Leonardo da Vinci, one of my characters. He's done a great documentary. Liz Cheney, who has a wonderful book out but is hoping to try to reshape the political agenda, and Kwame Alexander. These are all wonderful authors we have coming. Ken Burns and I have worked together some in the past. He did a wonderful thing on Benjamin Franklin, and I was one of the narrators of it, filmed it down here in New Orleans. And we did it again with Leonardo da Vinci, which comes out this fall, but at Book Festival, he's going to show us some early clips. We actually taped it at the Peter and Paul Hotel down in Marigny, because I'm one of the people being interviewed for the show. A lot of people I know are coming down, so whether it's Ken Burns or Kimball Musk or Sal Khan, I've agreed to do the interviews with them. So I'm going to be on stage a whole lot, but the real work is being done by Cheryl Landrew, Allison Hertzberg, Lindsay Billups, who are the people putting it all together.
The New Orleans Book Festival at Tulane University takes place March 14th through 16th. For details, go to neworleansbookfestival.com. Time for my quick picks here. Let us see. First of all, the University of Holy Cross will hold the 3rd annual Crawfish Boil and Cook-Off on Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It'll be held on their campus, of course, on the West Bank. Go to uhcno.edu/crawfish. Got that? For tickets. BK House on Charter Street begins a new music series in their beautiful Rose Garden. That's next Thursday with Amanda Shaw. Go to bkhouse.org for tickets. Thank you all so very much for being with us, and thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao! AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.